Hello, Salome B. And we're going to talk about the white supremacist James Jackson. James Jackson stabbed Timothy Coleman, 66, at random about 11:30 p.m. Monday on West 36th 9th Avenue. Jackson told the media he was a member of a white supremacist group. He detailed his racist views on his laptop. He'd been harboring these types of feelings for quite some time, about 10 years, harboring feelings towards black males. Jackson had a particular deep-seated hatred for black men romantically involved with white women. Jackson was a military intelligence analyst for the U.S. Armed Forces. Okay. Now, Jackson is what we call and we want to get this right, he is a copycat killer. If you know a copycat killer, or it's called the Copycat Effect, and it's a criminal act that is modeled or inspired by a previous crime that has been reported in the media or described in the future, or described in fiction, in fiction. And the copycat effect is the tendency of sensational publicity about violence, murders, or suicide. Okay, so let's talk about Vester Flanagan. Now, if you don't know who Vester Flanagan is. Vester Flanagan is the black man who killed Allison Parker and Adam Ward in Virginia. He was a reporter for Roanoke, Virginia, and he killed the two journalists during a live broadcast. And Williams had prior problems with stations that he worked for. He didn't really stay there long. He always was getting into certain arguments with employees and coworkers. Williams sued for racial discrimination, and the news company settled. Williams' Twitter account featured videos that shared the shooting from the gunman's perspective. Williams wrote a 23-page document that he faxed after shooting to ABC News. Williams said he did the shooting because of the church shootings in Charleston that happened on 6/17/15. Now let's talk about this. Let's go through this. Now, Vester Flanagan and Jason Jackson both told the authorities or their victims or whoever what their intentions were and why they did them. They were open. Both of these men are open about why they killed. Now, we know copycats like Jack the Ripper, the Zodiac Killer, Jeffrey Dahmer, Ted Bundy, John Wayne Gacy, Jeffrey Dahmer, if I said him before, and Jeffrey Dahmer was copying Charles Manson, and so on and so forth. Now, the copycat killers, they have this script playing in their head from other murders that they studied. James Jackson, he studied Dylan Roots because he has some similarities of what Dylan Roots did. He wanted the media to see, just like Vester Flanagan, he wanted the media to see. They want to make a mark. And then they always make sure that everybody know why they did it, because they want you to remember them. Now, these copycat killers, they always target someone that's homeless, someone that's weaker, because Timothy Colgan was in transitional housing, and transitional housing is housing that helps fight the homeless problem in today's society. So these killers always look for someone who's weaker, someone who cannot fight back. And Vester Flanagan and James Jackson and Dylan Roots, all their victims, if you look at all their victims, they were weaker than them. They always caught them in a weaker position. The 9 church shooters, they were having church, they were praying. When someone's praying, they can't even see what's going on. They are unaware because they're not in full view of what's going on, because they're praying. They're in their spiritual worship. Vester Flanagan, he killed Adam Ward, who was a cameraman who didn't know what was going on. He killed the reporter. She didn't know what was going on. He snuck up on them. This is a way to get someone and catch them in a weaker position. James Jackson, he caught a homeless man on the street who was in transitional housing, who's the elderly man who can't fight back. So the copycat effect is the thing that they do, the main thing they do is imitation. They imitate other killers that they have studied. Now, James Jackson has actually studied, because he is a military analyst for the U.S. Armed Forces, so he has studied. He studied Vester Flanagan because he came from Washington, D.C. Vester Flanagan was in Virginia. He was a reporter, and I'm pretty sure he saw the man on TV. So now, let's talk about who are the type of people who would even do these crimes. And they're called psychopaths. Psychopaths is a person suffering from chronic mental disorder with abnormal or violent social behavior, an unstable, aggressive person. Psychopaths have an intense gaze, a predatory or reptilian stare, or eyes that are lifeless, dead, emotionless, cold, icy, black, or empty, and it's called the serpent look. If you go and pull up Dylan Roots' pictures, the only thing I recognized with Dylan Roots out of his whole case was his eyes. His eyes, he has a very blank, intense stare, and he looks like that nothing is on in his eyes. When they say the windows, your eyes are the windows to your soul, they are. Dylan Roots looks soulless. When you look at Vester Flanagan, his eyes look black, lifeless. When you look at James Jackson, his eyes are serpent-like. These men are psychopaths. It's no way of getting around this. And we have a mental illness crisis in America, especially in Virginia and Washington, D.C. We have a homeless issue, and these things are taking toll. We are under attack in so many ways. We have so-called terrorists, so they say. Then we have the mentally ill walking around who we know nothing about because they're everywhere. We don't know who they are. They're getting a hold of guns. They're getting in your government. They're getting in the doctor's office, and they're getting everywhere. So now we have to actually now start to educate ourselves on these illnesses and start to point these people out and start to study these people because these people are studying you. And then now they are finding ways to hunt you and kill you. These people are not sane. And a lot of people like to say, well, oh, they're going to say that he's mentally ill. What else are you going to say he is? Because who in their right mind is going to follow somebody? Who's going to keep pent up aggression inside of them for 10 years but someone who's crazy? Who is going to stalk somebody? And who is going to ride 200 miles to another state to kill somebody? Why? I mean, what idiot would do something like this unless you're crazy? This is obsession right here. And this man was obsessed. He went and stalked out someone like a snake or some reptile does in the jungle. Like, come on. This is not a sane person. And we need to stop playing with this because we have a mental illness crisis. So I said that to say this, that psychopaths are the ones who are going to do these copycat killings. They are copycat killers. Because eventually, if they're not treated, they are going to kill someone. And when they do kill someone, it's going to be somebody of a weaker species or somebody weaker. Either they're older or they're younger and they can't fight back. Or they get them in a position where they're unaware. So, this is Salome B, and I came to bring you the similarities of psychopaths who commit copycat killings. You have a good night.